Hello and welcome to the second instructional cooking video where I kind of share with you some recipes that I very much enjoy. Today is a curried butternut squash soup. We're going to be using one butternut squash, and the first thing I like to do is peel the outside of the squash. That's the best way to roast it. The skin is just it's gross and doesn't cook very well, so you're gonna cut both ends after peeling it, and then I like to cut it horizontally and scoop out the seeds. You can save them or discard them. Saving them, you can toast them for a nice little snack. So I like to make vertical cuts so that way when I make my chops like this, I have a roughly uniform thickness, so that way when I'm roasting them, they cook pretty evenly. And that's important when you're going to be roasting all of your vegetables, like the way I'm going to be doing it, is to have them be all the same size. And then I'm going to be roughly chopping 2 onions. This is really to taste. You can do 1 onion, you can do 2 onions, maybe 3, just depending on how much you want. I like to do 2. And then here I have a little over half a dozen carrots. They're a little bit smaller. I like to peel the outside once again, roughly chopping them. It's all about just getting them to be the same size. Now with the garlic, you don't really need to chop the garlic here. Just smash them with your hand or the back of your knife, or the side of your knife, I should say, and just remove the casing on them, just to discard all of that. And then you're going to mix all this together in a large bowl, so that way you can mix in your olive oil, season with salt and pepper. This is really to taste. Next I'm going to be adding in my thyme flowers. You can do this in one of 2 ways. You can mix it in a bowl like this, the way I'm doing it, or you can just do it all on a tray, like I'm about to do now. It really doesn't matter. It just depends on whether or not you want to use another bowl. You don't have to, but for the sake of saving dishes, you can go ahead and do it in the tray. So here I've got both my trays of all my ingredients in my preheated oven, and it's going to be sitting at 350 degrees, approximately 30 minutes, mainly just looking for color. So you can see here everything's nicely cooked and caramelized on the tray, and I'm going to transition this to a large stock pot. This is really going to be the last part of the cooking process. You're going to be mixing in all your ingredients and some curry powder at this point in time, as well as some chicken stock. So here I like to use jarred chicken stock. You can use cubed, or if you have homemade stock, perfect. Just follow the instructions and use it to taste. And then you're going to add in enough water to really cover all of your ingredients, and bring it all to a simmer. Just let it cook for the remaining period of time. The best part about this soup recipe is the basic concepts, using stock, seasoning with salt and pepper. Really, it applies to a lot of different soups. You can do a lot of different soups with this very similar method. Once everything's cooked and soft, I'm going to be using, this is called an immersion blender. If you have just a standing blender, that will also work. I really recommend letting everything cool, pouring it in the blender, and then blending it. If you want to play a little bit riskier, you can pour it all into your blender and blend it hot. It will save a lot of time. But I'm using an immersion blender because it's safer and faster and easier for cleanup. Now, you may have noticed I added in a little bit more water just because I wasn't happy with the consistency of this soup. I thought it was just a little bit too thick, so I added in some more water. Really, just make sure you taste everything as you go. Depending on how much seasoning you added before roasting, you may not need it. But I like to just moderately add my seasoning as time goes on. So just at this last part of the process, you're just wanting to make sure that you have your seasoning set properly. Lastly, I'm going to add in a couple tablespoons of butter. It helps with the velvety consistency and just really adds a lot of richness to the soup. So there you have it. Curried butternut squash soup. Simple, cheap, cost-effective, most of all, delicious.